It was nice of you to get us in trouble because of what the boss did, Dodge grumbled, as he and Splatter stood in a siding ready to go home. How was I supposed to know he was after some lost engine? Splatter insisted. And besides, you told Sir Topham Hatt we would offer our services. No, the boss told us to offer our services. Well, if that old steam kettle hadn't left, oh, would you knock it off? I tell you what, I'm not going to be on this railway ever again. I'm not going to be here if you're not going to be here. Well, that's fine by me. Shall we go back to mainland? Yeah, let's go. All right, fine, good, bye. The Diesels waited for their path to be clear before they scampered off. They didn't look back to the island of Sodor until they crossed the bridge to the other railway. With or without Diesel 10, they had confirmed, they would never again set foot on Sundrian rails. Meanwhile, the other engines of Sir Topham Hatt's railway weren't too bothered about Splatter and Dodge's departure, or the fact that there was no trace of Diesel 10 after he had chased Thomas and Lady across the island. For all they knew, things were returning to normal, and Thomas was the happiest of all. He was pleased that Lily had reunited with her grandfather and had rekindled their relationship. And he was even more happy when Edward and Sir Topham Hatt returned from their holiday. Thomas had to admit that Edward looked much better and well rested from the journey away. And as he puffed along back to the shed, he could sense in the bottom of his smoke box that things were slowly getting back to normal for the engines of Sodor. That evening, as Percy pulled into the big station to drop off his mail trucks, he looked into Sir Topham Hatt's office. Through the window, he can just see him talking to Mr. Conductor. Oh dear, Percy quivered. Mr. Conductor's going to be in trouble after what Diesel's done. Percy could just hear the conversation through a little archway through the window. I feel the engines worked hard for you, Mr. Conductor, Sir Topham Hatt was saying. Are you sure the Rainbow Sun will be the ideal reward for them? Oh yes indeed, replied Mr. Conductor. He should be with us tomorrow morning. Excellent, said Sir Topham Hatt. It's time that Rainbow Sun came to see my railway. Oh dear, groaned Percy. He hurried away, and was lucky to be out of sight just as Sir Topham Hatt looked out of the window, in case someone was listening. Percy was quick to tell the others when he returned. Couldn't this have waited until morning? Grunted Henry. Edward's just come home, and the first thing he wants to talk about is another visitor. But what if this Rainbow Sun is worse than Diesel 10? Insisted Percy. And he comes from Mr. Conductor's railway too. Oh great, that's all we need, said James. He'll probably sound like a stuck-up pompous engine like Diesel was, said Gordon. After all, there's too many of those if you ask me. Yes, and I'm looking at 3 of them, muttered Thomas. All right, that's enough, interrupted Edward. All I want to do now is just settle back here with you lot. I didn't come home to hear bickering. Or maybe if you weren't dreaming about Our Lady, this wouldn't have happened, grunted James. Be that as it may, said Edward, I'm glad to be home and with you all. And whatever this Rainbow Sun is like, we're going to make them feel welcome, aren't we? Thomas and Percy were on board, but Gordon, James and Henry grunted under their breath. That settles it, said Edward. Good night all, and we'll hopefully greet our visitor in the morning. And with that, the engines went to sleep. Dawn broke on the island of Sodor as Toby the tram engine was chuntering along his tramway with Henrietta. Toby had also been told about the Rainbow Sun, having met Henry at the harbour while he was collecting the flying kipper. Let's just hope he doesn't cause any trouble, he was saying to Henrietta. Toby passed through the valley when he heard a loud, booming whistle. It was nothing like he'd heard before. It couldn't have been Gordon, he said to himself. He's not meant to pull the express for an hour. The whistle echoed again. Oh dear, said Toby. I can see why the others were worried. Sounds like this Rainbow Sun is bigger than anyone expected. He carried on his way, wondering how the rainbow sun would make his entrance. Gordon was waiting at a water tower. He was rather fed up. This one had happened that the water tower at the big station was working, he grunted. Sorry, Gordon, said his driver, it can't be helped. We have to wait for a train to pass. Typical, huffed Gordon, that's all we need. They came around booming whistle. It was so loud it shone Gordon to the frames. Oh no, now we're in trouble, he groaned. Move aside, turn through, bellowed a jolly voice, as a large locomotive came clattering past, with two beautiful saloon cars. What on earth? Muttered Gordon. The engine thundered past, whistle blaring and pistons pumping loudly. So loudly the rails shook, and Gordon felt rather tense. Before long, the engine was out and away, and Gordon was allowed to set off again. Diesel didn't make an entrance like that when he returned, he said as he chuffed along the line. Gordon arrived at the big station and found Thomas already there with the visitor. Oh, Thomas, thank goodness, said Gordon. I do think we're in the presence of a monster. It was such a loud sight. You mean Rainbow Sun? Asked Thomas. He gestured over to the visitor, who was letting off his passengers, being greeted by Mr. Conductor. Oh, said Gordon, blushing. That's Rainbow Sun, is it? He's one of the jolliest engines you'll ever meet, said Thomas. I'm sorry about my presence there, Big Blue, Rainbow Sun called as he let off steam. I seem to have that effect on engines round these parts. By the way, Thomas, what's the best coal hopper to use? There's one near our shed, said Thomas. Help yourself. Thank you kindly. See you all later. Rainbow Sun puffed grandly away, and Gordon blushed a deep shade of red. Mr. Conductor made Rainbow Sun feel very welcome at Tidmouth Sheds. James, Toby, Henry, Percy, Edward and Thomas found him quite entertaining, and jolly to say the least. But they were soon quick to discover that Gordon had remained strangely quiet since Rainbow Sun had startled him. Never mind, Gordon, whispered Thomas. Out of all the engines we've had over the last couple of days, I think Rainbow Sun's the best visitor we've had. Don't you agree? Gordon looked at his buffers. He didn't need to say anything, and for Thomas, that was more than an answer in itself.